Alrighty then. Hello everyone, welcome to this rather impromptu live stream that we've got for you today. But it should be a real good match. That's why we try to pull out all the stops to get this for you here today. So this is the semi-final tiebreaker match from the Diamond Firetail Foursomes, and this is being contested by Ireku, who is from team the Brooding Boobies, and facing off against Ireku, we have got Lauris, who is from Team Mother Tuckers. These are two teams of 4 players. They have been battling it out over the past week or two. They've played a total of 16 matches and could not be separated with 8 wins apiece. And that means that we have this tiebreaker match. So these two players have been specially selected by their teammates to take part in this, and it is a winner-takes-all situation for this semi-final. So whoever is going to come out on top in this game is going to go through to the final. So very, very exciting indeed. Lots riding on this game. I think it's going to be a real good one. And joining me on the commentary for this game, I've got Motherlove. So how are you doing, Motherlove?
Hello. Oh, it's always a good time when there's a Wingspan game going on.
Absolutely. Yeah, could not agree more. And as I said, one with some real high stakes on this. So both players, I'm sure, will be looking forward to getting this one over and done with.
High caliber players as well.
Absolutely, yeah. And it's a bit of a Lithuania face-off as well. So both of these players from the same country.
So it's personal.
It is personal. The pride of Lithuania, I think, is riding on this one. So yeah, obviously these two players, they already faced off against each other in this round of matches, and I believe Lauris came out on top of that one. But of course, they are in the same World Cup group as well. So this won't be the first time they faced off against each other, and it certainly won't be the last. And like you say, two real good players. Lauris obviously winning the Premier League. Ireku's got some real strong tournament experience as well, getting through into the latter stages on a number of occasions. So yeah, it should be a real good one. And I think we can probably look to get this one started. So we've got Ireku, who's going to be going first in this game. So Ireku, if you could be so kind as to get the invite sent over, we'll get this one started. So yeah, best of luck, of course, to both the players in this tiebreaker match. All right.
Yeah, let's see.
What have we got here?
Good birds in the tray.
Ooh, there are some good birds in the tray, and there are some good birds in the hand as well. So yeah, looks like a good start definitely for Ireku there. Saw there we go, the Violet Green Swallow.
Fairly straightforward.
Absolutely, yep. And I think it's probably not too controversial to say that you're going to go and grab that American Red Start turn 1 from the tray.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you have a good forest bird, a good wetland bird, and a grassland cycling bird.
Absolutely. What more could you want?
Yeah.
What more could you want? And
there are better stats, but you can't complain about that.
Not at all. And of course, you've got the black turn for that star nest for the end of round 1, so you don't have to worry about that. That can sometimes be something that you're trying to sort of get from the tray or the deck to sort of scramble around and get that. But yeah, real nice. And looking like they might go for a bit of a greedy start here with the 4 birds. What do you make of that?
Yeah, you need to keep 2 food to play the red start.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, you definitely need that 2 food, right? And then once you can get that down, that's already getting you 2 food a turn. Maybe they're looking at adding the screech owl as well. I guess a couple of rodents in the feeder is going to help with that for sure. And then you're looking at 3 food. Yeah,
just to get 2 birds down.
Absolutely. And I didn't see what the bonus cards were, so hopefully they'll flick back over to that. But might have a part to play in it as well. But yeah, certainly I think red start and screech owl, you're getting 3 foods. You can easily get these other 2 birds down, and then it's just about getting some eggs down, getting some cards, and then just cycling with that swallow. And it's a real strong start. Just trying to find more good birds to add to this.
The end of rounds aren't really leaning in any particular direction here.
No.
I hate having this one as the last end of
Yeah,
round.
I was gonna say it's one of my least favorite. I think probably that or like birds with no eggs, that can be quite tricky to manage as well. But yeah, food and personal supply. You don't want to have food at the end of the game because you can't do anything with it. So it's just basically sat there, and it's quite hard as well, I think, to sort of tell whether you've got a chance of winning it or not. Quite often the ones are like, that third end around goal, birds in the grasslands. If you've got a real advantage in that, it can be clear whether you go for it or not in that final round. But we'll see as we get to that. So here we go. We have now got Lauris' starting hand. Certainly not as strong, I would say. But there are still some good options there, I think, that Lauris can work with.
Yeah, decent. I mean, there's not a lot of worms in the bird feeder, so it makes Wednot kind of hard to play.
Yeah.
I think you have to keep you probably go Warbler and Cuckoo, I would say.
Yeah, I think those are the two I'd be looking at, and then, like you say, the worms are a problem, and the only other real option is that oyster catcher in the tray. But again, that's going to need a couple of worms, and I think both players, they're going to be fighting over that worm in the bird feeder. Obviously, the swallow that Iriku's got, they're going to want to be getting that down very, very quickly as well. So, yeah, definitely, not the most straightforward of starts here.
It's probably fine. I mean, the oyster catcher is a ground nest as well, so if they get it down, it's pretty good for them as well. And both of them have a cycling bird, so
yeah,
they don't really care what card they get with the oyster catcher. They just need a card.
Exactly. Yeah. At that point, any card is a good card, and actually in those situations you almost prefer it to be something that you don't want to play, so that you do have something to at least cycle through with. You've got something to tuck. So I think this is probably the start I go through. I think definitely Warbler and Cuckoo, those two kind of work pretty well together. You get those two in the forest, you can start getting food and cycling as well. So I wonder if maybe the red knot, if that is just something to tuck and sort of cycle through, or if they're maybe going to gamble and hope they can get something better, maybe with the tucking, or again, even if they can get some worms from the bird feeder, they might be able to play it as well. So yeah, I'll be interested to see.
I mean, it's probably just to cycle, but
yeah,
when I keep a bird to cycle, I still keep the best bird I have.
Absolutely, yeah. You don't want to keep the worst bird, because you might end up playing it, or maybe your opponent gives you a card with the oyster catcher, and that gives you something else to go with. So Storm Petrel's quite a good option for sure if you don't have that wetlands bird, which obviously Lauris doesn't here. So maybe they might be, by looking at picking that up again, 2 fish needed for that and a worm might be on the difficult side, I think.
Difficult to play for sure.
Yeah.
Especially, I mean, Ireku has to play a bird here, so he's gonna be able to get. Lauris is gonna be able to get the worm. I'm getting the name mixed up. Okay, Lauris is at the bottom.
Lauris is at the bottom. Yeah, and Iriku's at the top. So, I think you're right. For Ireku, there's not really any reason to go out of your way and grab that Storm Petrel. I think if it's still there, maybe when you come and draw cards, or maybe after you've got the swallow down, absolutely go for it. But I think they've got enough to work with here. Like we said, the Screech Owl, I think they're probably going to try and get that down. But the Black Tern as well, and then obviously the Swallow's going to follow not too long afterwards. But here we go. What do you make of this? Tucking the Cuckoo straight away.
I was just going to say as well how the Cuckoo's actually going to be really good this game,
Yeah.
Because obviously Ireku is probably going to be looking into cycling as much as he can with his presumably grassland swallow.
I would presume that that's where it's going to go as well. So yeah, you would expect it to go in that grasslands, and then lots of eggs to be laid. I mean, obviously, that's not something that Lauris is going to be aware of, but I think when you do have those pink powers, it is normally worth trying to keep hold of them if you can.
I feel like you can probably take the mouse, cycle the Wednot, and the Sparrowhawk. I was thinking, because you can play the Sparrowhawk with the mouse, and you get two forest birds. But that's better. They got better birds than they would otherwise.
Yeah, this is a tricky situation where you play oyster catcher and there's kind of two.
Oh no, I'm totally
ones.
looking into taking Savvy's Warbler here.
I think I would as well. I'd be very, very tempted by that.
100%.
Yeah, because obviously, like you say, you've still got that yellow rumped warbler. So you just draw cards a couple of times and then get a bunch of food and cycle through. But I can understand going for the chickadee as well. That 2-point forest. That's a very nice one indeed to go for.
It feels slower. Maybe they're thinking, I'll just let my opponent take the Savvy's Warbler. They're gonna give me cards anyway.
That's true.
But Savvy's Warbler, you get so many cards that he would have just been able to take the Sparrowhawk after playing Savvy,
Right,
and
right.
he does have Falconer.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I think that I think Lauris probably has got half an eye on that Sparrowhawk potentially, like you say, with the Falconer, and if you are going to get some free cards as well, that can be worth going for. But yeah, there is always that kind of dilemma when something like Savvy's Warbler or like even something like the Snipe or the Sandpiper comes up. Is you almost think, well, actually, if my opponent takes that and it's going to give me free cards, I'm all for it. Be my guest. So definitely. Yeah, it could be a potential option, but I think, for Ireku, like I said, it seems pretty straightforward. They've got their plan in their mind. They've already got that rodent as well, still for the Screech Owl. So, you lay eggs, you get that down, you start getting food. And maybe you get some extra worms, you can play both these birds. That's probably what they're going to look to try and do.
Also, Lois, I can't actually play the chickadee straight away because the bird feeder is kind of...
Yeah, it's not ideal. It's not ideal, and
I mean, he can still say what I said earlier about the Sparrowhawk. He can take
Right.
the Gold Quest here, take the Sparrowhawk.
Yep, and obviously with the rodent there, that's going to be easy to get down. But yeah, I think really they're probably trying to wait and hope that Iriku's going to reset this bird feeder, just so they can maybe see a fresh bird feeder, hope for lots of worms. But it's always tricky when you're relying on your opponent to do something like that you have absolutely no control over.
Yeah, especially because Ireku has stuff to do, unlike Lois.
Absolutely, yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I think when you can have this real good plan around one, like Ireku had, see grab the red star, get that down, start getting food. It was very kind of linear, very straightforward. I think in having those decisions to make. So yeah, I think it is always harder when you're sort of relying on your opponent to go out of their way, maybe to do something like that. But here we go. We've got the American Robin. Are we going to see that in the forest as well? Double tucking, maybe alongside the yellow-rumped warbler.
That's what I was thinking. That would have been especially effective if he had kept the cuckoo.
Right.
I'm still upset that but
I can understand.
I'll probably play in the forest just because you can play immediately.
Exactly. Yeah. And with the
full
worms as well. Yeah, I think that was getting rid of a card there to get the extra food. So yeah, it does look like they're shaping up at least to go Chickadee and Robin. So Chickadee, obviously we know that's going to go up there in the forest. But yeah, I'll be interested to see where the Robin goes. Golden Eagle, very, very nice with that Falconer. I imagine they might look to try and get that down at some point as well.
Yeah, for sure. The Golden Eagle is... I tend to think it's actually quite underrated because you don't see a lot of high point birds that can actually consistently score points.
Right. It's tricky because obviously 3 rodents can ordinarily be really, really difficult to get hold of. But yeah, I agree. I think if you can get hold of the food for that, you're very, very certain of getting the tuck each time. And again, if you've got Falconer bonus or Rodentologist, it's basically 10 points, right, for those 3 food, and then almost guarantee some extra food as well along the way. So definitely nice. But here we go. Robin has gone in the grasslands, so maybe try to build something up there alongside that Golden Eagle if they can get the rodents to get that down.
Yeah, and they probably didn't want to get rid of the egg as well.
That's true.
I mean, they have a turn left, so I wonder what card they're gonna tuck here.
Yeah, it's tricky because I almost would. You don't want to get rid of any of them, right? Because you need that Chickadee for your second forest bird. I think the red knot's quite nice. We're starting to see some worms appear in the bird feeder, so getting that down should be okay. But yeah, this is a tricky one. I'd almost be tempted to not tuck at all, but that does always feel like you're kind of missing a point opportunity there. But there we go, Golden Eagle gone. So clearly, clearly it is underrated.
This is the tuck and cash play.
I think so.
Prioritizing tempo over.
Yeah, I can understand it. It does always feel like you're kind of missing out when you're not taking that tuck. But here we go. Fresh tray, round 2. Probably nothing amazing there, so not too surprising to see Lauris kind of going from the deck here. But at this point, it is probably just about getting some cards, and then again, you can get that Chickadee down and just start drawing cards, getting the cycle, hopefully getting some food, and trying to get some of these down.
Taking a second look at the hornback.
Am I seeing this right? Yes, it is a hornback. Actually, not a bad play considering the third end of round goal. So You know,
Hmm.
I wouldn't be opposed to it.
The main problem now is that they're not really making cards.
Yeah, and they need as many cards as they can to be tucking. Obviously, they get food, they're tucking a card. They lay eggs, they're tucking a card. So you always want to have those extra cards. And I think already probably maybe the Sparrowhawk they are still going to play. Definitely, I'd be looking at playing that red knot. So you know, when you limit the number of cards that you have left to tuck, it does make those decisions more difficult. I mean, as we saw at the end of that first round, having that difficult decision with the tuck.
We're being accused of ignoring chat.
We're not ignoring chat. I'm reading
Not ignoring
chat.
chat. You guys are just saying the same stuff we're saying.
And there is a lot going on in this game as well. Very fast paced. Obviously, these are two very strong players, very comfortable
Someone at the
players.
beginning. It was Tayway actually. He just said, "Let's get this game done in 30 minutes" because he's on a lunch break, and then he's complaining about people taking time.
Outrageous, SMH. But here we go. Wood duck. Do you go for the wood duck here?
Probably not.
It's tricky. The cowbirds come up as well, so. Cowbird and nuthatch.
I would say I probably wouldn't go for the wood duck just because I have Savvy and a tuck and draw into grassland, which is already pretty good as an engine.
It is tricky. I think Ireku was looking for that second grassland bird there, right? You know, they've already got this swallow. They've got a 3-food forest, right? You're just looking for something else like a point generator, even if it's an egg layer. I mean, ideally another tucking bird would be good. But yeah, I think they just were hoping for something that I don't think.
Even a horned lark.
Even a horned lark, absolutely. That would do very nicely. But yeah, I don't know. I would feel it. I would feel very, you know, it's very hard to ignore the wood duck here. But there we go. Red tail talk, very nice. That would have been good. For
Another falcon.
Well. There we go. Horned lark. Bye bye. You've outlived your usefulness here, I think. But yeah, definitely good to the falconer there. That hawk for Lauris. So expect them to get that down. Wagtail.
Actually, Anhinga does falconer as well. I keep forgetting they qualify.
Yes. Yeah, you always forget about those ones because you would just never play them otherwise. But yeah, what do you make of the wagtail? Obviously, 2 worms.
That wagtail is looking kind of ideal.
I think it could work.
You can probably play straight away in the grassland before you take eggs because he has exactly 2 worms, and it's gonna make you able to basically justify that wetland action, and you get points from both your forest and grassland action. So I think the wagtail is really good here for me.
I think it can work. I think there's enough turns, like you say. You play it in the grasslands here. You lay eggs. That's all your actions done. You then have 2 spare turns. You could even just gain food both of those turns, and you know, if you get all the worms you need, you can play the red knot. That's really going to help this end of round. Even if not, you know, maybe you get some rodents. You could play the hawk. I think there's options, and definitely, like you say, the wagtail. I think when you're scoring points in multiple habitats, like with this setup, you're getting points in your forest and in your grasslands. I think it's really easy to justify taking those extra actions for something like the wagtail. So
I mean, especially because it feels like they're going to have to take every action most rounds anyway.
Yeah.
They're not really going out of their way.
No.
The chat asking, is it too late for wagtail? We're like in the early stage of round 2.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I almost find that round 2 is probably better for wagtail than round 1. I almost find it can be quite tricky to work with in round 1.
It's very hard to play. Sometimes even if you get it in round 1,
exactly.
I only play in round 2.
Yeah, that's the thing, because you know, even sometimes you can play it in round 1 and meet the criteria for it, but just because your actions are so weak in round 1, you're not generating enough cards or food, it's quite difficult to have something worth playing, you know, without really going out of your way to play something terrible. I often find that I don't even, you know, make use of it in that first round anyway. So I think round 2 wagtail, I think it still works here.
The brown pelican is actually pretty decent because people were actually just bringing up how they don't have a lot of food supply. They're probably fine, in my opinion, partly because they have the sparrowhawk in hand.
Right.
So that obviously covers like one bird plate without using food. And the brown pelican, they could now look into taking that anhinga. And they would have that covered as well for layers.
Absolutely. And yeah, you know, if you are going to go with this wagtail, I think having a little bit of extra food from that brown pelican is very nice. You know, you play it, you get the 3 fish, you play the anhinga straight away, and that's 8 points for the falconer. So very, very nice for sure. Would not be surprised to see if Lauris does go for that. But yeah, Ireku, I'm wondering if they are trying to shape up for this wood duck. So obviously they got the chickadee down, which again I don't mind that. I think that works. But yeah, they've still got this violet green swallow and have not committed to a habitat, and haven't even got the 2 worms for it yet. So yeah, I'm kind of wondering if maybe they're gonna try and make use of this cowbird as their egg source, and then just kind of go all in with the tucking in the forest as well.
That's what I was thinking, especially like wood duck on its own. Probably wouldn't play wood duck if you do a cowbird as well. A lot more tempting already,
Absolutely. And yeah, I mean, maybe they will be slightly put off a bit because of that next end of round goal, and you are thinking, well, if I'm not going for the grasslands, I'm probably going to lose that. But you are setting yourself up very nicely for that last one. I think with the red start as well, you're going to get so much food. You can basically guarantee that final one. So yeah, cowbird has gone down. Does look like, obviously, they maybe reacted a bit. Lauris playing the wagtail has kind of caused Ireku to think, right, I know Lauris is going to be laying eggs at least once in the next 2 turns. So if I get this down now, I'm going to be getting my free egg, and can look to get things set up from there.
Yeah. At the same time, though, with wagtail, you're not committing yourself to just winning a grassland edge in every go. So
right. Absolutely.
It both guarantees you an egg for the opponent, and also like limits the impact.
Yes, I think so. And yeah, I think probably Lauris was going to be laying eggs there, but then they saw the cowbird and thought, nah, I'll make you wait 1 more turn. And yeah, they have got the rodent on the reroll, so I would certainly be imagining that they lay eggs. I think probably that Tanager is going to be the one to go, and then they've got those 2 rodents. They can look to play the hawk down. But yeah, a couple of foods, the 2 seeds. I think we are going to see. This wood duck go down. So it's just about waiting and hoping you can get that free egg from that cowbird.
Exciting news, yeah. We always love to see a wood duck.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah, I think
we just said AYP for wagtail, but I'm always so worried when I play wagtail.
I almost find it's not worth playing just because of the stress factor of maybe it's not going to work.
Not quite that much. I had a game the other day where I played snow bunting, and immediately after I played it, it didn't activate, and I thought, I'm going to lose the game.
Yeah. It's so frustrating, and it does make you think twice about playing these kind of birds if you think, oh, maybe it's not going to work properly. Go on, please.
It's worth taking.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. Thinking twice. Ooh, not gone for it. That house sparrow, that would have been really good for Ireku. So
for sure, yeah.
On one hand, you're annoyed you've got it, but you're happy your opponent doesn't. So there we go. Free egg for Ireku, and here we go. Wood duck is going down. So this is going to be fun. This is going to be real fun to see how this develops. And plenty of food. It's all just going to be about that card draw. Dig as much as you can through the deck. Try and find those high point birds. And look to get those down. So here we go. Wagtail time. It has worked, thankfully. Are we going to see red-tailed hawk in the grasslands? We are. So there we go.
Part of the wood duck decision is also maybe thinking my opponent is stuffed for cards. I don't want to be activating the warbler every go.
Right. Yeah, and I think, when they did play the warbler and kind of when we were talking about that, I'm thinking, right, you just gain cards a few times. Okay, you give some to your opponent, but you're getting so many that you can just sort of cycle those through the swallow. That is nice, but as you say, real kind of struggle in the wetlands, I think, for Lauris, and they have got those 2 tucking options. So that every card you give them, they're going to find a use for it. They're going to score points from it, even if it's not good. And worst case scenarios, they're going to turn it into something really good. So yeah, I can understand. I think I would have had a hard time making that decision of going for the wood duck, but definitely I think that is going to work out here for Ireku. That certainly makes sense. So warbler in the tray, pretty much no brainer. I think you grab that, and
man, that's screech out. That's screech out too.
Yeah, it's you're always gambling a bit with that screech owl, but hopefully it keeps working for Ireku. A couple of cash food already. I think you take that.
We should make a ranking of which dice rolling predator cashes the most.
I mean, I feel like I feel like Screech Owl is up there, and I feel
Yeah.
like Broad-winged Hawk always.
I was
lets me
gonna say
down.
Broad-winged Hawk as well.
Yeah,
Ooh.
there are definitely some that work and some that don't.
The wet-legged partridge I normally really like with like teal playing other bird powers, but
it's too late.
it just doesn't fit the board here.
No,
They
it
have more
doesn't.
grassland than anything else, and they
doesn't.
don't make enough food.
Absolutely, and I mean, it's probably another case of, well, I'm glad my opponent didn't get that, because if you're Ireku, that would slot in so nicely in that second grassland spot. You're gonna have loads of food, and then you can just spam eggs and get a bunch all at once. So yeah, that's just going to be another tuck, I think, here if you're Lauris. But yeah, Red Knot is going to go down. Hoping here for a good bonus card. What's it going to be? Oh, you take that.
Good.
Really good. Yeah, with Wagtail, that's definitely
another falconer.
Another falconer bird. Oh, and another tucking bird. So decisions to be made. Do you go barn swallow? Do you go burrowing owl?
It's tough because like you don't really need the star nest for the burrowing owl. I mean, actually, they both have.
Yeah.
I'd probably take the burrowing owl.
I think so. I think if you didn't have the robin, I think you'd go for the barn swallow, just because that, having that tuck and draw is so nice. But you have already got one, so obviously having a second one is nice. But you got to make up 6 more points from that barn swallow compared to the burrowing owl. I just don't think
it's always you round 3. I mean, the barn swallow is interesting because it's cheap as well.
Well, it's round 3, and I don't think Lauris is just going to be spamming eggs because they've got this wagtail. So maybe you're looking at 3 or 4 activations, maybe 5 at a push on that barn swallow, and that's not enough to make up a point difference. So where does burrowing owl rank on the dice rolling predators? I always feel like that's a pretty good one. That's a pretty reliable one in my experience.
It's okay. It's better than Furious Hawk.
Oh yeah, that's like that's D tier at best, I think. That never works.
How many eggs do they have? They're not going to be able to play it before taking eggs again, which is...
Yeah.
It's just losing like 1, maybe 2 points. It's
fine. Well, so 4 turns left. They need to lay eggs. Goldfinch, lovely. They need to lay eggs once. They need to draw cards once. And then they need to get food, probably to look to play it. So they're still going to need something else to play with that wagtail as well. So maybe that's going to be the Sparrowhawk if they get something that isn't so good from the deck. But we'll see. But yeah, that Goldfinch, that's an instant play. I think you've got that.
For sure.
And you've got that and the the Warbler as well to go in the grass. And so Ireku, they might be able to compete here. They
keep drawing good birds.
They do. They're drawing those kind of high food cost, either high points or good power, and birds from the deck with that wood duck. And yeah, that's exactly what you want to see. So no surprises at all. Slam
both
that
of
down.
them keep drawing good birds. Actually, I was saying for Lois as well.
Oh,
He's looking into tucking some birds. He just got I mean, the Common Swift maybe not, but Civilian Warbler, that's pretty good.
I think so. Yeah, and. Yeah, I did wonder, maybe it's time to get the Sparrowhawk down, and potentially I think they might be looking at using the Wagtail power to play the burrowing owl, and then
keep it in the back.
Exactly, your opponent doesn't know that you've got that, right? They don't know that you're going to slam that down as your 4th grassland bird. So good to have that in the pocket. But there we go, Goldfinch already straight away activating from the Sparrowhawk. So. I think Ireku's going to be very happy with that.
Maybe they're thinking I need to play the Sparrow before he puts down Snow Bunting or something.
Yeah, quite possibly. But here we go. I thought maybe this Inca Dove was going to go down just as a way to try and, as I say, compete for this end of round goal. So obviously not getting a whole lot of eggs here. You're only getting the 2, obviously 1 on the Dove and on the turn. But if it is going to help for this end of round, I can justify.
And it does give them more tempo, because otherwise they're kind of stuck just waiting for eggs from Lois. That he's probably going to hold off as much as he can before giving him.
I think so, and as well, sometimes in these positions you can think to yourself, right, my opponent is just going to spam eggs in the final round, so I'm always going to have a few spare. But I can't see Lauris necessarily doing that because they've got this wagtail. So, you think to yourself, well, I don't know if I'm going to have eggs at the start of that final round. So if I want to be playing birds, that's going to be a bit of a struggle. So at least, even playing this warbler here, Ireku, they are going to have a couple of spare eggs. So they can maybe play a bird and then keep going for food, see what they get. And by that point, you should expect your opponent to have laid eggs. So I like that. And yeah, being able to sort of slam those 3 birds down real quickly at this end of round, I wouldn't be too surprised if that's caught Lauris off guard. I don't think they were really expecting that.
Bluebird, unfortunately, they don't have enough food to be able to play on the round end.
I don't think so. And the warbler is going to get tucked. Ooh.
Oh.
Well.
They keep coming.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you'd probably play that instead of the burrowing owl now, but I mean, they're both good options. You could easily get them both down, I think. One this round and one next round, so I don't mind that at all.
Yeah, for sure. Especially because they have to take another rodent anyway.
Yes, exactly. And they have to take cards in this final round, so they're always going to have something extra to tuck. I don't think that's going to be a problem for them here, but here we go. Into the final round.
Clark's grip, really good.
Yep.
How is let's just check real quick. Ireku is doing rubbish on their bonus card.
I think they only have one. Yeah, I think only the wood duck is. I think that's their only bird that hits the large bird, especially. So that could cost them. Obviously, we see, Lauris. They've got that falconer. That's on 6 points at the moment, potentially 8 if they do look to get the burrowing owl down. And then they've got the ecologist. I'm assuming that Clark's grebe. We're going to see that in the wetland. So that's 6 as well. That can make a difference if you're outscoring your opponent by 12 points on bonus cards. That can be really difficult to fight back against. Even with lots of birds and obviously plenty of cash food and tuck cards and stuff that Ireku's going to have down. So this is tricky. I was going to ask you who you think is going to win, but I need to come up with an answer myself as well because I'm not really sure at this point.
Swan does they're not going to be able to do large bird. They need to play 3 birds. They have 1 in hand. I think it's kind of amusing the swallow. They started with it. It's still in hand.
That is interesting because we saw it right at the start and we thought, oh, that's the game changer right there. You get that down, you're tucking cards. You're in a real strong position, and it's just been the case where every time they've kind of almost come to playing it, I think they've picked up something better and kind of worked with that instead. So it's unfortunate, but I do feel like you can't question the decision to not play it. And I think the swan, I think that's good. Like you say, you're not going to hit the bonus card, but it's still 9 points for the bird. So I think Ireku, they'll be very happy to get that down and probably just look for one more bird to try and play and hopefully score some points from. But there we go, Hawk already succeeding as well as the other Hawks, so that's a very, very nice grass activation, I think.
3 tucks,
for Lauris. Yeah, you take that 7 points there. Obviously, you get 3 tucks, but you're only giving your opponent 1, so that's always a nice position to be in.
I have no idea who's going to win.
I don't either. I mean, the chat seems very convinced that Lauris has got this in the bag. We've got 7 votes, and they're all for Lauris. So
but that doesn't mean that they're not on the fence,
Maybe they're all just like 51% sure that it's Lauris.
That's what I said last time. It's if they all think like 50 51 49 on Lauris, it still makes the stats look absurd towards Lauris. But
it does.
They're all on the fence.
I mean, I don't know.
Because he does have quite a few like random points here and there with tucks and cashes.
He does.
So does Ireku, and
exactly. And this is the thing: is that I know, you look at Lauris and you think, oh, he's got that real strong grasslands, but it is giving a couple of points to Ireku every time they do that. Obviously, with these pink powers, and when they're taking these other actions, obviously their forest, that is quite nice, giving them a couple of points. But they have had to draw cards for 0 points this round, and that's never ideal. So I don't know. It's tricky. I feel like it is going to be close. I mean, I said to the players before.
The bonus card is the main deciding factor.
Yeah, that does seem to be it for the chat as well, I think. But
Ireku is slight lead on the end of round. I think they're tied 1 and 3, and Ireku is going to win 2 and 4. I believe.
Yes, I think so. So I think Ireku does.
So that's 6 points. That's catching up to 1 bonus card, pretty much.
Yeah.
That's catching up to Ecologist, and they're still 8 points Falconer.
exactly. So that's definitely going to help. But yeah, I mean, I said to the players before the game that we were expecting it to be close because obviously these are two real strong players. I think pretty closely matched as well in terms of ability. So yeah, it was always going to be close, but definitely feels even closer.
They are so happy that they got the Great Egret instead of Ireku, because that could have legitimately been a game changer.
I mean, they've got the food to play it, right? You could play that alongside the Swan. That would have been real easy. So yeah, obviously not again another case of a bird not working for Lauris, but you're so happy that your opponent has not grabbed that. So there we go, Swan going down. And what do you do in this position if you're Ireku? Right, 2 turns left. Do you draw cards again and gamble that you find something good, or do you just suck it up and lay eggs for 4 points twice?
It's tough to say because there's no fish. So that means if they play 2 birds, they're not going to have any food left. They lose the point on the end of round. So I think you have to lay eggs twice.
I think so. It's real tricky, but that does feel like how it's going to have to go. But yeah, it's more tucking. Lauris, very, very nice. Obviously, as I said,
maybe you still get like Bonelli's ego. I mean, he didn't get
Could you imagine?
He could actually just about play Bonelli's ego and have 1 food left over and do 2 more points on Ecologist.
Man, could you imagine? Well, and 2 on Ecologist and 2 on Falconer.
Yeah.
So
man.
That would definitely be nice.
We were quick though.
Yeah. Absolutely. But yeah, it's always difficult, with that wagtail when it does come to the final round. Trying to justify to yourself taking those extra actions that maybe aren't going to score points versus actions that are going to score points.
They had a really good path to wagtail here. They just didn't get the bird feeder they needed.
I think so. Yeah, I think that was the problem really, was that if there's a worm and a fish there, I think pretty straightforward to
I blame the rubbish and the round gun.
Yeah, well, we said at the start, right? No one wants this food.
I took this one out.
Yeah,
at home.
I would gladly do that as well. It's just not. It's one of those as well. Like when you're playing Oceania and you draw no round, you're like, oh, let's just put it round 1. Like no one saw that.
Especially because I don't know if you noticed in Oceania, I believe the number of end of round gold tiles you have is a multiple of 4 and then +1. So for me, it's just this one. I take it out.
Yeah, just chuck it away, make it a nice round number. No one's going to notice.
No, there's only 1 left. We have to reshuffle.
Absolutely, yeah. No one's gonna begrudge that, I don't think. But it does seem like Ireku themselves, they're going down the path of just laying eggs. I think they're really not going to find anything good. And yeah, same. It seems for Lauris again, just lay eggs. Real hope that these hawks are going to work. Not that time. Ooh.
Oh no!
So they had been doing really well. I think they both worked every single time.
Yeah.
Until that point. So if things are going to average out, I think you can expect that. But you never want to see that. Last turn when you're really kind of counting on it. Yeah, because especially if you lose by like 1 or 2 points and you think, oh, yeah, it's that final turn where the hawks didn't work. That's where.
And then you look at the screech owl and you think.
Absolutely, it can be real frustrating. But here we go. No wagtail. End of round sorted. We're going to go into the scores. So, chat is overwhelmingly in support of Lauris. I feel like I would give the slight edge to Lauris, but it is going to be close. I feel like this is going to be a real close one. So, Ireku holding on to the lead. Obviously, real strong lead there, bird points, but it is slowly being dragged back here by Lauris. It's going to come down to the tuck cards. And there we go. Lauris just about edges
pretty close. Yeah, pretty close.
98 to 95. So yeah, that is, I would say that falls into the category of close when it's within 3 points. So luckily, those 2 hawks at the end were not costly for Lauris, but they do.
Lauris made a major error, says the chat.
Ooh. Well, we will maybe come to that.
I'd have to, because I actually think Lauris had calculated his moves pretty well, and he was sort of waiting on Ireku to cycle the bird feeder, maybe reveal a fish, and it just didn't happen.
Definitely some calculating at the end there. So, yes, I'll bring the players.
A
back
good
into
game
the
for
room.
sure, though.
Good game for sure. We'll start by coming to you, Laura. So first of all, congratulations. You've got your team into the final. How does that feel?
Thank you. Yeah, it's okay, but it was a lesson how to not play Wagtail.
Yeah, it's always tricky, isn't it? Because you got it in round 2, and you think, can I still make it work? Should I still go for it at this point? And then again, you get to that final round, and I think especially with such a strong grasslands like you've got, it's so tempted to just kind of go and lay the eggs as many times as possible and make use of that. So yeah, hard decisions, but it got you over the line in the end.
Yeah, indeed, but yeah. And somehow Ireku know what food I need. It's like it was still unlucky. I couldn't get a ball and a fish.
Yeah, the bird feeder at the end was definitely a bit of a pain as well for you there. So that, I think, maybe forced your hand a bit in the decision making. But yeah, obviously you still got the points on the board, which is what counts.
No,
So
I'm trying to work out how many more points Bonelli's eagle would have been.
well, I'll let you do that, and in the meantime, I'll come over to Ireku. So obviously commiserations, but it was still a really good game, real close one. Could have gone either way, and yeah, I kind of want to hear about obviously this violet green swallow that you had right from the start. You probably wanted to play it and could just sadly never really get that down.
Yeah, I thought about playing it after Wood Duck, but I don't know. I thought maybe Incadaf is better, so I can
Yes.
contest grasslands and get 2 eggs.
Yeah.
If I need them.
Yeah. I think we did kind of see that coming. Obviously, there was that one turn where you grab the goldfinch, and then that's kind of obvious. Try and get that down, and yeah, you got plenty of tucks from that as well. And then we were kind of looking at your food and your birds and thinking they might be able to compete here for this end of round. So yeah, I think it was just a case of not being able to get it down, but certainly.
I mean, with the end of round points, Incadaf adds up to a 7-point bird.
Absolutely, yeah. I think it made sense in the scenario as well. And yeah, obviously when that wood duck came up, that was always going to be a difficult decision as well. You'd already built up that strong wetlands. You had a pretty good forest going, but it did seem like being able to add the wood duck to that and get some big point birds. That definitely kind of seemed to work out, but. Yeah, sadly, just maybe a couple of points shy at the end. So Screech Owl, maybe a few more successes from that, and you could have been in with a shot, but definitely well played.
Yeah.
Real good game, I think.
And congrats to Lauris.
Sorry, I cut you. I just pointed out while you were playing, Lois managed to draw the great egret. That would have been enough to win.
Oh yes, yeah, that was really close. I think you were maybe one or two cards in the deck away from Great Egret, so probably not what you want to hear. Maybe if you watch it back, you'll see it and sort of wince a little bit. But yeah, there were quite a few times actually this game. I think for both players grabbing birds that would have been really good for the other one at sort of really opportune times. So that was quite funny because if the other person had got that bird, you'd have been very, very happy. But the person who got it was just straight away like, no, I'm going to tuck that or I'll discard that. I don't have a use for that. But
I actually thought about drawing birds, but then I think to myself, like, I can get 8 points for laying eggs.
Yes,
I
exactly.
don't know if I can get something better.
Yeah, and that's the gamble, right? At the end of the game, I think when you're in that position with 2 turns, you think, okay, what kind of bird am I looking for that I can score enough points for, and obviously still, be in with a shot of still securing the end of round, and kind of all these questions are going through your head. But yeah, I think the laying eggs, it probably was the right decision, even though it didn't quite get you enough. But yeah, I think I'll wrap up the stream there. As I said, really good game. And obviously, congratulations, Lauris. You have taken your team through into the final. So we'll look to try and get that started as soon as possible. And Ireku, you're still in the tournament as well, because we have a bronze medal match. So still some sort of pride, I suppose, to be playing for and trying to get some success with your team. So that will be
for sure.
good to see as well. So thank you again, both players, for streaming. As I say, really good match. Glad we could get this one done.
Thanks everyone for tuning in.
Absolutely. Thank you, Motherlove, for joining me. Good to have you here.
Sure.
And,
Always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure.
Thank
absolutely.
you. Thank you.
And thank you everyone for watching. And we will see you again, hopefully, in another stream very, very soon.